Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Porterhouse, and have we got news for you? It's the brand new Cycle Search 2023, and we've got not one, but two we're giving away.
That's right, it's twice as nice, and you're going to find our prices right here at Honda Suzuki Polaris Can-Am KO of Jackson, just off US Route 35 at the Standpipe Road exit. Porterhouse giving the big bike away over there. Tell them about it.
Well, this one right here may be a little bit used once it gets into your possession, but basically what you're going to be doing is searching all over our listening area for a set of keys that will go to these KOs. And of course, what will happen is you'll listen to the clues, you'll try to figure out where it's at, and once you think you know where it is, you go look for it. And when you find it, you win!
Exactly. So how do you win? Be listening to Matt and the Morning Crew. Each weekday morning, you're going to get your clues there first on Mix 96 FM. Matt will have those clues, and then you can hear them across our total media platforms on 97 Country The Bull, also on WCJO FM, Pure Rock 98.7, and Fox Sports 105.3 FM. Again, you find that key packet, you're right away on a KO Storm 150 or this beautiful KO Predator 125. It's all from your friends at Total Media, and of course, Honda Suzuki Polaris Can-Am KO in Jackson.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here to start off your Wednesday morning. Thank you, James. It's hump day with number one, your cycle search clue, and number two, a wonderful, wonderful guest from Holzer, and we're going to get to her in just a minute. And you and I are going to have a lot of fun today talking about maybe, I don't know, it doesn't bother me, but maybe not so fun topic.
I would agree.
Yes. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I do want to give you the third cycle search clue, and this is what it says. Today, is day 3 of the 2023 cycle search. So here is your clue for today. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I should make you read it, but I won't. Oh, we should make Carrie read it.
Come on in,
Carrie, come over here and read the cycle search clue. This is my way of getting her on the show.
I fixed my hair this morning for this very reason.
Yes. Okay. Talk right into that microphone.
I get my own.
Yeah. Read number 3. Don't read one that's not number 3. We did that once.
I have the power. From the south to the north and the east to the west. It's not going to be easy, and you better not rest.
Thank you, Carrie. You did that so well. You earned your money today. She's going to kill me later. No, I spend my entire life trying to get her and Marla to come on the show, and they never will. So this was a really easy one. So, okay. Well, now that we have the cycle search clue out of the way, I'm going to mark that one off so I don't read it again. Fun guest from Holzer today to talk about something that, I don't know, I could say arguably one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as a woman. You're in charge of at Holzer. You know, you have your hand in a lot of that, and that is mammography.
Yeah. I would agree that it's one of the most important things, especially early detection. I feel like people think, well, you know, I've had this lump for 3 months, you know, it's probably nothing. And people get in denial. That's what's crazy to me, is how do you feel this area and, you know, not want to do it for yourself. And I think
because if you wish it away, it'll go away maybe.
Yeah. And I think it's terrible that happens, but I I know that people have probably been fearful of a mammogram because I think you hear really terrible things like it's so painful and it's uncomfortable, and it is uncomfortable in the sense that you're half undressed. Nobody likes to be half naked and in front of another person you've never met before. But I think that it's only me and one other lady who does them now up there at Jackson, and her Ladina is her name. And I feel like we both try really hard to make it an enjoyable experience. Keep your mind off of it. Talk about other things, and I think that's really important.
It is very much so. Well, let's back up for a minute and have you introduce yourself because, and we'll get into it. I'm going to talk about personal stuff because I feel like it's important as somebody that's been there and done that. And we met through my mammogram. But it's been, it's so fun. I mean, that we've gotten to meet. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you ended up, thanks, Dylan, in the Jackson area.
So I'm from Bidwell originally, Bidwell, Ohio.
Oh, name first.
Oh, my name's Maggie Bocook. Was Maggie Campbell. But I grew up in Bidwell, lived there, went to school there, all that good stuff. Went to Shawnee for college, and then I got hired during COVID, so nowhere was hiring.
Oh, geez.
It was terrible to try and find a job, but I was very thankful I got hired at Holzer just as an x-ray tech, and then that was down in Gallipolis. And then the position came open in Jackson to do mammo, and not that I don't love x-ray, because I do, but I wanted to do something different. I felt like I was being called to do something different. So applied for the job, got hired, started up here in December of 21, and I just love the patients, the people, my coworkers, the doctor. Everyone's so nice in Jackson.
Yes.
And that's not just me saying it.
No, it's the common theme.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie comes all the time. It's a common theme for sure.
It's just such a nice, and I have two girls I work with, Carrie Coyen and
Yes.
Bailey Rose. They make it so fun.
Yes.
But I love it up here. And my grandma had cancer. My other grandma had breast cancer. And I felt like, maybe this is what I was meant to do because I was going to be a nurse. That didn't pan out. So here I am. But
No, and I think that's wonderful. So tell me, for any maybe young person out there listening, what kind of schooling did you have to go through that you ended up as an x-ray technician and or a mammographer? Is that the word?
Yep,
okay, I just totally made that up.
I went to Shawnee, and it's a 2-year program, and you have to be an x-ray tech to be a mammographer. So it's 2 years, and you do coursework, which you're in class, and then you also go and do clinicals. And I feel like Shawnee has a really good program for radiology. I felt really prepared when I graduated, but you do that, and then you're out in the job, and you have to be an x-ray tech before, of course, and then you have to do, I want to say it's 25 supervised exams, and then you have to do so many unsupervised before you can sit for your mammo boards. I had to do a course online. It was 40 hours, so just a work week of learning for mammo.
Okay.
And it was through MTMI, which they have a lovely program. The ladies there are really nice. I thought that it was very informative. I didn't know anything about it. Never even seen one before I did the course.
Yeah.
And decided that's what I wanted to do. But you just do that, and then you do your exams, you're supervised, and then you can sit for your boards.
So that's a whole other certification. You don't just say, oh, I'm an x-ray tech, I could do all this stuff.
Yeah, some places I think you can, but I know that it's good for, monetarily, you get more money for being certified, and then also, a lot of places aren't going to hire you if you're not. So
yeah, that makes sense. They want the most qualified person.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
You're talking about mammography here. It's one of, well, we just said, arguably probably one of, if not the most important screening done in medicine.
Yeah, and I think, too, you have to have the right mindset for it. It's not for everyone. Not everyone's going to like to squeeze breasts all day. It's not everyone's dream job. So.
Wait, are you sadistic or are you just you really caring? Which one is it?
I like to think I'm really caring, but it's debatable.
Come
I guess.
on in here, Missy Miss. I got something for you. No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny. No, I think that you have to just really love what you do, and I think people say that all the time, but I genuinely do, and I feel like it's so important, and I get to see a glimpse of someone's life, and maybe I made this experience so much more pleasurable for them. It's not fun. That's why I always tell people, I'm sure you've heard terrible things. They're not fun. I'm not going to sit and be like, they're great, they're wonderful, but
Yes.
they do a lot for your health. And
Yes.
if you catch breast cancer early, it's 100% chance of 5-year survival.
Okay.
So,
that's a no-brainer.
yeah. Why wouldn't you want to do it for yourself?
Yeah. So I have an acquaintance that I was talking with one day, and she, this was after the fact, we hadn't met yet, had survived breast cancer. And this lady works in healthcare. And here is, this is a little lesson for you. And she said it got to the point where she knew she had a lump. It got to where it was like a sore.
Mm-hmm.
It got that far. And she was like, I knew better, but I was in healthcare and I just did not want to admit to the fact that it was there.
Yeah.
And she's like, me of all people should have known better. And it was really bad by the time she finally got it
Oh, I'm sure.
diagnosed. And, so her point was, I'm in healthcare,
Yeah.
if there's anybody in the world that should have known, please don't let it go.
Oh, yeah. And especially I feel like in Jackson, we're really good about if you do go to the doctor and say, well, I have this lump. If you're worried, the doctors up there are great. And then also we can get you in. If they were to call down and say, this patient I'm really worried about, we are very, I don't know the word I'm trying.
Accommodating?
Yes. And we'll make it work for you. When works for you. If it's not right now, if you're not ready to do it today, that's okay. We'll fit you in when it does.
Correct.
And, it's just, I have seen so many stories like that. I can think of a young girl. She's under 40, but same thing. She was like, well, I'm too young to have breast cancer.
Yeah, that's not what this is.
Yeah. And breast cancer doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're 25 or 75. If you're predisposed to get it, or if you do just happen to get it, then you will.
Yeah.
And don't.
It's not going to go away on its own.
Yeah.
It's not. I promise you. It's like being pregnant. It's not going to go away. Yeah, you can't undo it.
Yeah. Once you have it until it gets taken care of.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about mammogram. And, I can throw some personal experiences in there as well, because I started having mammograms at a relatively early age, at 30, just because of some, things that I had in my history and whatever. So at that point, the doctor wanted to do what they called a baseline, just to get, figure out what it is. And then maybe 5 years later, take a look at it again, just to make sure, unless anything happened in between.
Right.
But I was a little bit of a different case because I'd had a few things happen. But when do women, technically, unless you find a problem, when should you start mammograms?
So it's typically age 40, and there are certain circumstances, kind of like what you said, where myself, I'll do me as an example. My grandma had breast cancer in her 50s. So
yes.
Not a perfect example, I'm realizing in my head now, but so they recommend if someone in your family, a first-degree relative, a mom, a grandma, a sister, an aunt, those are considered first-degree relatives.
Okay.
And sometimes a grandma, it depends on who you ask, but if they've had breast cancer, they recommend you start 10 years earlier than when they first had it.
Okay.
So those are usually the two circumstances. And then, of course, if you have an issue as well.
Okay. And that was my thing, is I'd had several lumps and bumps, and none of them proved to be anything, bad.
Right.
But the fact that I had them and they'd had to be tested and whatever, they certainly wanted to start me a little bit earlier.
Right.
So let's talk for a minute about you hear this term all the time, and as a woman, I'm sure you hear it, dense breast tissue.
Yes.
And we'll get to why she's here in a minute to announce something really cool that is at Holzer now that I'm sad I missed this time around. She was like, you need to come back.
Yeah. Well, I hope she always comes back.
Yes, I will
She's
always
lovely.
come back to see you. But definitely that yearly at least. But yeah, so let's talk about dense breast tissue for a minute, because you hear that and it sounds like you've got, some kind of disease or something. And it's not, it's just that it's the way your body's put together, right?
Yes. So usually what I tell people is like you have a mix of like adipose, which is just fatty tissue, and the dense tissue. The younger you are, typically, this is just a sterile or generalization.
Yes.
You have denser breasts, because whether you've had children affects it, whether you breastfed, if you did have children, how many children you have, all of that affects your dense breast tissue. And some people just are predisposed to have more than others. But I feel like not that long ago there was a segment on the news where maybe Katie Couric was talking about how 3D mammo is better for dense breast tissue.
She's the reason why I actually remembered to call and schedule my mammogram, because I saw her on the news.
Yeah, well,
and it's October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And you get a goodie if you come in October.
I did. I got a whole goodie bag. I was so excited.
But she had posted or did that news interview thing about it, and I had a lot of patients. I don't have the news at my house, so I was like, what are all these people asking this for? So, but it is better for dense tissue, but it's good for non-dense tissue too. Like if you have a 50-50 breast and it's half fat, half dense, it's still really good for those. I think on this little paper I have, it says that this is the only mammogram FDA approved as superior for women with dense breasts. So the new machine is wonderful. Sorry, I spoiled the surprise a little.
No. And that's what we're going to announce here. And let's do a little drum roll, because Holzer has put in some new equipment, and it is
a 3D mammography, whatever you want to say.
I can't. This sounds really stupid. I am so stoked that you guys have that now.
Oh, I am.
It is game changing.
Yeah, so many patients are like, I'm so glad you guys got it. And even on that thing that the Holzer had shared about this interview today, they were like, some lady commented like, this saved my life, 3D mammograms, I'm so excited to have them. And it is wonderful. It's just such a better technology. And I don't read them, of course, but like looking at them, like it's just visually so much better. I can see so much more. Something that I might have thought was a lump before, I'm like, oh no, that's just your breast tissue when I scroll through.
I see.
So and I feel like it's more comfortable. I've had so many patients. We've only been doing them since Wednesday of last week, and I've had so many people be like, oh gosh, this is so much more comfortable. So wonderful.
Good. Okay, so let's talk about why 3D is so much better as opposed to what y'all had in the past, which is perfectly sufficient. It's just 3D is like the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And then I want to get into a little bit about the comfort and that kind of thing, and maybe ease some people's minds on that. But 3D, what is the difference between, what you were doing and the 3D?
So with the old ones, they were just 2D, which, like she said, they were sufficient, and we're still going to keep that at one of our locations. So it is still a good exam. I'm not taking away from that at all. But with the 3D, it's nice because you can visually slide through every slice of your breast tissue. So I think it said that it reduces callback rates up to 40%, which I feel like is a very scary thing especially for me too. I call people and I'm like, I don't want you to be worried. They want you to come back in. And I know that they're worried,
Like, but I love you, Maggie. I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah, don't ever call me. Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you're wonderful, but
maybe next year I'll see you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's scary anytime you have to get called back. And that's one of my favorite features is that, I'm not going to have to call back as many women and inflict this panic in them. And then also, it's more, I think it's 20 to 65% more likely to find an invasive ductal breast cancer, an invasive cancer at all. And I feel like that's a really common one. There's that, and then like a ductal carcinoma in situ, which just stays where it's at. It's not going to travel anywhere. But if you have an invasive, it's going to travel somewhere else.
And quickly.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to do these and get them yearly. But the 3D, this paper describes it as like if you're reading a book, previously you could see the front and the back cover of the book and that's all. And then now you can flip the book open and see all the individual pages inside and see, something very small like a calcification previously within close to a tumor, but it's not really a tumor. It's just your breast tissue. And you can see that it is just that. And it's
Okay.
not a tumor.
Which would have been a callback before.
Oh, yeah. When you get multiple in a little area, that's when they get worried. They're like, oh, it could be something. So it's nice because they can scroll through and see, well, these are at very different levels. They're not all right here together, clumped together. But it helps to not have superimposition where your breast tissue is just lying one on top of another. And it looks like, oh, gosh, that's a bunch right there. So it's real nice.
So basically it's taking, what before was one just picture, as you would think of an X-ray or something. And this is like individual pieces.
Whenever, if anybody comes in for one, it's
Go see her. She's awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But it's
and Ladina's awesome too.
She is. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's like 15 images from start to finish on each picture we do. So we do usually 4 pictures unless there's something else going on. We have to do extra, larger breast or something like that. But so it'll go beep, 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 and then it'll go beep, 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 real quick. And that's the 15 pictures. So each beep that you're hearing after the 4 slow ones is a picture. And previously, we were taking one. You got one picture. That's it. So it's 15, and the tube's going to move over top of you, and each little motion is a picture. So you're getting different angles, and that's what makes it a 3-dimensional.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
So what did that mean for you as far as, giving mammograms with this new machine? Did you have to learn, how to use it, new things? Did you have to do new schooling?
We were lucky enough to have a lady from Holzer come. Her name is Carol. She's very sweet, and she taught us like the mechanics. So how you turn it, because it is different, and it's a lot nicer for the X-ray, mammotech, whatever you want to say. It is ergonomic, is what they say. So
it's ergonomic. Ooh, that sounds fancy.
It is fancy, and that's why I keep telling people, I'm like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, because it's so much new stuff. It's so nice. And the biggest difference I notice is, of course, the tube's going to move over top, but it has a thicker image receptor, so it's supposed to be a little more comfortable to sit against the ribs down here. But yeah, she came in. We did 2 days of training. The first day was like how to move the machine and positioning and stuff like that. And then the second day was like quality control, which we do on Tuesdays. So just to make sure the machine's working right, everything's going how it's supposed to, all that good stuff.
And back to the 2D machine that you guys had been using, it was kind of state of the art as well, because it had the soft pad on it, I know, which a lot of, places don't.
Yeah.
And if you've had a mammogram and you've had to lay something on a cold surface versus a nice soft pad, it's a whole different, story.
I'm not exactly sure when they started offering the pad, but I know that we offer like the softest mammogram in the region. Yeah. And we're the only in-house 3D mammo area now.
That's awesome.
Because I think Adina and a couple other ones are like mobile units, which they're still good exams. I'm not discrediting.
Sure, it's just
we're there. You can go see your doctor, come down, get your mammogram, and it's just a quicker experience, I feel like.
And the great thing about Holzer is, for example, I go up on the clinic, and my OBGYN is Dr. Gaines, who's been there for a few years. See, we don't say old here. We just say a few years. But the cool thing was everything's in-house, right? So I go up to the clinic, I go see Dr. Gaines, I walk down the stairs, I go get the mammogram, and you're out and you're done, unless there's some kind of issue where they're going to call you back or whatever. Well, hi there from Brazil. That's awesome. Unless there's some kind of issue, it's one and done, and you're out, and we'll see you in another year situation. Yeah. So that is so handy.
It is. And they have lab there too. So, if anything were to come up and they wanted to test levels on you or anything like that, you can do all of it. I think the lab opens real early too. I want to say like 7.
Yeah.
So, that's another really good option.
And they are on it too.
Yeah. Get you in and out. And we start doing imaging at 8 as far as like mammograms and stuff go. So
very good. Yeah. So it's so easy to get in and out of, and everything's kind of in-house, which makes it wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about, your ergonomic machine. And what makes it, you're saying it's a little bit more comfortable than the traditional 2D mammogram. So can we talk about, like, say I'm coming in, what should I expect?
Okay, yeah, perfect. So we have these nice fancy capes. That's not machine related, but
they're super cute.
They are. They got little flowers on them. They're so cute. But we'll, of course, have you change.
They're as cute as they can be.
Yeah, yeah, because you're, yeah. But you'll come in, we'll get you undressed, all that good stuff, and then we'll get started. And so the main difference that I like, of course, is the thicker image receptor, so it's a little more comfortable underneath of your breast. So we'll put your breast up there. We'll bring the paddle down, and that is another really lovely feature. With the 3D machine, they have made these curved paddles. It's called a smart curve paddle, and what it is so previously it was like straight across.
I would say everything was just flat.
Yeah, no curve.
Everything was flat.
Yes, yes.
Like literally.
Your breast and all.
Yes.
But
like, this isn't the way it's supposed to go.
But it has a nice curve towards the center, and then it kind of tapers off, and the edges are real rounded now. So especially on those side pictures, I feel like those corners were really hard on people. So
yeah, because they could pinch.
Yeah,
like really.
Yeah,
pinch.
and they get right underneath your collarbone, and I mean, you wouldn't want anything real nice and pointy under there. So it's really nice. And you can do less compression and still get as good of a picture with the smart curve paddle. So people who maybe are like, well, they squeeze too hard or anything like that, I recommend coming back in, giving us another chance with a new paddle. Of course, those aren't going to be for every breast type. Some people aren't going to be good for that paddle. We select them based on how your breast looks. So when we compress down, of course, we have the foot pedals and all that good stuff still, so can get away from you.
Where
if you're
the
not
sadistic part comes in. No, I'm just totally teasing. They are so not. You guys are so aware of people's comfort levels.
Yeah, I always ask people like a million times, like, does that feel okay? Are you doing okay? Because I feel like I personally would not feel real happy if somebody squeezed down on me like that. So
and didn't ask.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's the least I can do is say, do you feel okay? You know.
Yeah.
So I think that with the new,
like I can't escape from this. I'm stuck.
Oh gosh, somebody was talking about that the other day. What would you do if it power outage and you're stuck in there?
Tell me there's an emergency release.
There's three. There's three of them. So,
whew, okay, there's your peace of mind right there.
And I mean, if you ever get in there and somebody's doing it and you say, okay, that's really hurting, you know, we can release it. And that's the lovely thing about it is saying, okay, well, if that's too much for you, that's okay.
Yeah.
Of course, I think the old slogan is like, the more you take, the better. And yes, take as much as you can, but don't kill yourself. That's what I always tell people. Like, I don't have to kill you to get a good picture.
You shouldn't come out of the thing traumatized.
Yes.
Like,
no.
Is it not fun?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I had the doctor tell me, not Dr. Gaines, but a different doctor. He was like, if you're having fun with this, I'm like concerned about that. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, you should not be looking forward to it.
Yes.
Other than to get to see Maggie.
Thank you.
And Ladina. Yes.
Yes. But, and then, like you were saying before, we have those pads. They're through Hologic, but that's why we offer the softest mammogram. It's because those pads, they're nice and pink, just like breast cancer awareness. So,
yes, they're super cute.
Yes. So
along with your cute little cape.
Yeah, you match. But
totally color coordinated.
I have had a lady one time who didn't want the pad, but I feel like that's what they used to do. You went in there on that hard image receptor and had a hard paddle come down and squish you right on that cold image receptor. So
I'll pass.
Yeah, me too. So it's really nice. I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of people even say like, oh, when did you start doing this? You know, these are so nice.
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they're real soft and plushy, and they're keep the detector warm, which sometimes our rooms are one extreme or another. It's too hot or too cold. So not everyone's the same. So it's a nice equal balance.
Sure, absolutely. So this machine is, kind of, I would like to say, shaped more toward a woman's body.
Oh, yes.
To make it as comfortable as humanly possible. Plus the imagery is just off the chain better. So
Yes, I
yeah,
agree.
it's so good. Okay, so what I want to talk about is how does somebody get to you to get mammograms? Because and we're going to talk about maybe you don't have insurance or maybe you need a little assistance. You know, that
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe not. Okay.
So typically, if you have a primary care doctor, they will order your mammogram for you. If for
Okay.
any reason you don't have a primary care, that this would be a good opportunity to get set up with one.
Yes, for sure. And your primary care, you don't have to have an OBGYN doctor
Correct.
to you can go to your primary care
Yes.
physician if for that too.
And the majority of my patients, I will say, do just go through their primary care, which I think, not that it's better or worse to do one or the other, but you're going to see your primary way more often than you're going to see your gynecologist.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think that it is a plus to go through your primary care, but either are sufficient. But if you were to call in and say, I need a mammogram, I don't have a provider, they would get you set up with one. And there is a number. It's 1-855-4-Holzer. And when you call that number, that's the radiology's scheduling department.
Okay.
So they're going to ask you a series of questions, like, do you have a lump? Is this just a yearly for you? Is anything going on? And do you have a doctor at Holzer? And through those questions, they'll get you sent to the right place.
Yes.
That's just for all the locations. Anywhere you're at, they can call that number and they'll get you to where you're supposed to be. But once you do say, well, no, I don't have a doctor, they'll get you set up with one. And then once you have seen a primary care doctor, they'll send you down for a mammogram, whether it's here, Gallipolis, or Athens.
So at your different locations, you have this as well, a mammogram as well.
I think all of our locations except for the Lawrence County branch has mammography. Athens is getting installed with their new 3D mammo, I'd say within the week.
Oh, cool.
So they should be offering that pretty soon as well. And then Holzer's had it and Gallipolis has had it since October. So they've had it a little longer. They were the first to get it. We were second, and then Athens. So we'll all have it pretty soon.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it's exciting.
And so you do need a referral for, some things that you can just call and get done. Mammography, you need a referral through a doctor, physician. Yeah. So, and the great thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be, if your primary care physician is at another place,
yes,
they can still send you to see Maggie,
yes,
and you can say, I just want to go see that girl I saw on TV.
Yeah.
and they can refer you. It doesn't have to be within the Holzer network.
Yeah, and we do outside doctors all the time. So all they would have to do is fax it over to our radiology department. We get you scheduled, get you in there. Sometimes they fax it to me, and I'll be the one that calls you. But most of the time, it's the girls out front, and they're really lovely as well.
Yes.
So, but yeah, you can go through any provider, even if you see a doctor way up north somewhere and they want to send you a referral for a mammogram, we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind if you have a doctor elsewhere. One of our local nurse practitioners that might be a private practice, they can send you there as well. So that's no problem whatsoever.
And you'd mentioned about if you didn't have insurance or anything like that. So,
because that's a really good excuse for women to not go, well, I don't have insurance, I can't afford it.
Right.
Well, let me tell you can't afford not to.
Yes. That was beautiful. That was really good. But through the Southeastern Ohio Breast and Cervical Cancer Project, and that's located, it would do here, Vinton County, Gallipolis, anywhere in the southeastern Ohio area. But
thank you, Dylan. Dylan put that up. Good job.
But they, depending on your income and your age, they will help pay for a mammogram or a pap smear. And it's really crucial. And the number is down there at the bottom. It's 1-800-236-6253. And those people, we just dealt with them the other day for a patient. And they're really nice, really quick getting on things. They'll send you with a voucher. You'll bring that with you. And then once you call and get it scheduled, you'll bring that voucher with you, and then we'll input it into the system, and they'll pay for your mammogram. So it's a really lovely program. And
so there you go.
Yeah.
No excuses, ladies.
Yes, I agree.
So let's talk. Wow, I'm going to really throw one at you because we were talking. James and I were talking with our own Matt McKee yesterday, as he knew you were coming in, and he was like, "Oh boy," because two guys talking to a lovely lady about mammogram. They were kind of scampering around trying to figure out what to ask you. I think, but Matt had mentioned, and I don't think he would care, that he had after he started lifting again, he had noticed like a little bump within, his chest, and went, and his doctor wanted it to be checked out. Well, it ended up being nothing, and great. We're so happy about that. But let's talk a minute about men, because this isn't just for ladies.
I agree. Yeah. I've done a handful of men since I've been working up here in Jackson, and I feel like there's a stigma almost around it that a man can't get breast cancer, or he shouldn't care, but you can.
No.
Even though the number is significantly smaller for a man to get breast cancer, it still happens all the time. And I think the statistic is 1 in 833 men will develop breast cancer in their lifetime. And of course, that is a low percentage, but I mean, it's still pertinent that we mention it.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and a really common thing that I see with men who come in for a mammogram is like gynecomastia, and that is like the development of breast tissue behind the nipple, and that's the most common thing I see things like that being diagnosed as. But it'll feel like a lump. So it'll still feel like, okay, maybe this is something to worry about, and you shouldn't put it off.
Is that hormonal, or is that a fatty thing, or what?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
It can be caused from like testosterone, like taking steroids, even if it's medication that your doctor just puts you on, and you're on steroids prolonged. Like it can be from that, and then also recreational marijuana usage. So that's another thing to think about. So, but the few people I've seen with it have presented with like pain behind the nipple, a lump, it feels uncomfortable. So, I mean, that's something that should be advocated for too. I mean, your doctor can help you once you are diagnosed with that, but I mean, they can't do it just off feel alone. Like they have to visually see that.
So I would think, so let's ask, I don't know, stupid question that people don't talk about. So, we're all built differently, right?
Correct.
So, Victoria's Secret is out there for a reason. And you have, the double D bra, and then you have the double A bra, and then you have everything in between. So, is it a thing where my breasts are too small, or you can't do the test? Like, is that really a thing? Because I've heard that.
No.
I've heard women try to use that as an excuse.
Yes. So we have a variety of paddles that are different for each breast type. There's like a small one that's like probably that wide, a medium, and then a large, of course. So we have a variety, but
you're not going to be like, oh, you're the medium.
Yeah,
you're
no,
the
I would never say
paddle
that
today.
No, I'd be like, I'm just going to switch this one out. But yeah, I think that, like you said, it is just an excuse, or maybe they've had a bad experience once before and they're unwilling to give it a try again. Not every mammotech is the same. Not everyone's going to do you the same way. People who have done it longer might have a different method than I do, and I think that's what's lovely about it. As far as a big breast goes, the only difference between a double D and an A is that we might have to do a couple more pictures, and
because there's more stuff to look at.
And you would want that. You'd want to get the most thorough test, and you'd want to know that all of your breast tissue was captured in the image. And, I'm very thankful that we're able to provide that. And they call it mosaic. So I think it's kind of beautiful. You're like a little masterpiece that we're making through the images.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's not super, super often that we have to do the mosaic. Sometimes we might do one or two extra to get some outside or inside breast tissue, but most of the time, most people fit on one. But if you fit on more than one, then, that's nothing to be worried about. Or
you should be proud.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Good for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think especially if men typically don't have breasts.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How in the world do you do a man? Like,
yeah. If they can come and get it, then, anybody can come and get it. So it is harder to do a man just because you have to change how you think. It's not the same as if I was doing a woman, but all the men I've done have been lovely. They're really great
I
people.
was getting ready to say, let's just be honest. Men are a little wimpier
well,
than women.
yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
So,
yes.
have you encountered any wimpy men?
Once I have, but most of the time they do pretty good. They don't have as much to squeeze, so it gets tight quicker. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
true.
that they have to endure as long as a woman would, but they do okay. Yeah.
But no, and the bottom line is, if you have something that feels weird or is just has changed,
Yes.
please say something. Do you watch The Home Edit
No.
on Netflix?
No,
Okay, so one of the it's these two girls, and they are, you would love them.
I'm sure.
They are adorable, and they're best friends, and they started this company called The Home Edit, and basically they go in to like Hollywood stars and whatever and edit their homes, like teach them how to organize things.
Oh, okay.
So they go into like your pantry and be like, oh God, this is a mess.
Yeah.
And like, so one of the girls though came out not too long ago, and she is battling breast cancer. But my point to this is, she said something right away. She felt something, and this is during COVID.
Mhm.
She called her regular doctor, and they said, oh, we can't get you in for like 6 months for a mammogram, because they live out in, wherever they live. And she's like, well, I'm not feeling very comfortable about that. She went to a doctor, got into an immediate mammogram, and she was in like stage 4 breast cancer. And had she waited those 6 months, she said she just knew. She's like, I just knew. I just knew something was wrong. And her point was, say something and be your own advocate and like be forceful.
Yeah. I just told a lady that she works in healthcare, and she was like, well, I'm kind of passive. And I was like, you have to stand up for yourself.
Don't be passive.
Yeah. Nobody is going to advocate for you better than yourself. So, I mean, even sometimes that people come in, they're like, oh, I've had this lump, it's kind of different, kind of the same. You have to be like, I have this lump and I'm concerned about it. And, I feel like that is more advocating than just being like, well, I've noticed this bump. And you have to be forceful with it sometimes, and that's as terrible as it sounds, but you do.
You do, and I'm not saying that would ever happen at Holzer, because
no.
man, they're on it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you got something going on, you're down at X-ray or something,
Right.
Probably the same day.
Yeah.
But, when you live in LA or you live in some of
yeah.
these things, I could see where you would get blown off pretty quickly
Right.
because of just the sheer numbers.
Yeah.
So just please, if something is wrong, say something.
Yeah.
If something's different.
Yeah, and even if, you don't mention it to your doctor and you come in for your mammogram and say your doctor ordered your mammogram 6 months ago and you're just now getting in for it. And if you say, well, I wasn't having any issues when it was scheduled, but now I have this area, like we can always reach out to your doctor for you and say, well, okay, they've developed this area. Can we change it to a diagnostic where we do some extra pictures of the area of concern and maybe an ultrasound if needed?
Sure.
So, I mean, even when you come in to see us, we'll give you a big old questionnaire. Everybody hates filling those out, but they're really important for our radiologists when they do your interpretation to decide, what's normal, what's not, what's changed. And it'll ask on there, lumps, bumps, pain, tenderness, discharge, things like that. So never hesitate, even when you come and see us, if you didn't mention it to your doctor, to tell us, because we'll reach out for you if you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. And again, that's being your own advocate, and then that's allowing them to be an advocate for you.
Yes. And we love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're very passionate about what you do, and that's how it is. And as long as somebody's looking out for you and you're looking out for yourself, things will be a lot better.
Yes, I agree.
So let's talk for a minute about the 5-year survival rate deal, because you had mentioned that kind of briefly. Early detection saves lives. We hear that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Early detection saves lives, and that's with every thing.
Yeah.
That's with your colonoscopy. That's with another one that probably is.
Nobody likes to talk about this.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, I did survive one of those, and they are exactly right. The actual act of the colonoscopy, cake.
The prep.
The prep situation is a
Yeah.
little rough, but yeah, they were like, "Oh, you've got it all under control now. You're just going to get to take a really good nap." And like, I didn't get what they were saying, and when I woke up, I'm like, "That was a really good nap."
That's funny. Well, unfortunately, no naps in Mammo.
Yeah,
but
I mean, that would be a little awkward.
yes. That.
Do you ever? Oh, okay, that's a good point. Do you ever have anyone that maybe has like, anxiety or claustrophobia issues? I could see where that would be problematic.
I haven't encountered anyone with the claustrophobia. I feel like that's more MRI. I don't know why I just stuttered like that.
Because you're around me and that's what I do.
Yeah. I'm picking up. But I think that it's more MRI when something's going over people's faces, but I'm sure it can happen. Anxiety for sure. Like if I have people who are 40 coming in for their first mammogram, they're terrified. I mean, and that's where
because they listen to all the crap that everybody that they read about online, and it's all BS.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, it is possible for you to have a bad mammogram. I think it depends on who does you. We were talking earlier about a menstrual cycle. If you still menstruate, that would definitely be an issue where it's more tender.
Yeah, you get tender.
Yeah. But I think that
just reschedule it.
And that we're always happy
fine.
to do that. Yeah, if you say, "Well, I just don't feel like it this week," and that's okay. Yeah. We just hope that you still come in.
Yeah.
But I think that different things factor into different people's experience. But I think if you like you said, advocate for yourself and tell people, this is hurting, or people have to listen to you. We're not here to hurt you. That's never my goal. I just want you to get a good exam. And if there is something, that we find it early. And the best way to do that is to come in for the exam. And, like she said, if you catch it early, your 5-year survival rate is 100%, and
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, hello, why wouldn't you do it then?
Yeah. I've had a lady who missed 1 year. So she came, let's give a fake number, in 2020. She didn't come in 21. She came in 22, had breast cancer. So in the span of a year, things change, and it changes so rapidly, especially if it's like an invasive breast cancer, That's why it's important not to miss it and not to skip it. And that's not me trying to put fear into anyone, but they are so important. If it can make the difference of you living or dying, you should do it for yourself.
Especially something that's so easily detected.
Yeah, and just because they're a little uncomfortable, I get that 100%, but I mean, I'm sure everything that would come after of not having it and you do develop something like that'd be even worse.
Yes,
I mean, you can save yourself pain and heartache. And we have wonderful doctors down in Galplis who do the biopsies. And I think Dr. DeWitt and Dr. Kearns, they're both wonderful women who do the biopsies. They're really nice to talk to, and they make you feel really comfortable too. And they're who would do your surgery. We used to have Dr. Dahowski. She's since retired, but a lot of people still talk about her all the time. They're like, "I miss Alice." So, I mean, it's wonderful. Everybody there is wonderful. That's all I can say about that. But
yeah, no, and I think that that's great, and you just need to do it, and that's all I can say about that. The experience. If you have a issue, if you go in and you start getting, panicky or whatever, just say, "Maggie, I'm feeling a little panicky here, so either talk me through it or."
Yeah, and
whatever, and I think that that's fair.
Oh, yeah, and I would never want someone to feel so uncomfortable with me doing their exam that they didn't say anything. I would rather you say, I'm not feeling super great about this. What can we do? And I'll give you alternatives. If you don't want to do your mammogram, we can still find something that works for you. I know that some doctors will do like a breast MRI if you have breast implants and different things like that.
Yeah.
But it just really depends on what your insurance will pay for, and then also what you're comfortable for. I want you to come get your mammogram, and I want you to feel comfortable around me, but I can't force that on you. So, but I just hope that, people do realize that it's so easy to do. It's quick, maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
In and out.
And you get to talk with these lovely ladies, and they're great. So don't feel weird about it. And again, it's kind of like your OBGYN and everything else. They see you, you're not that, get over yourself. Like you see boobs all day long. So it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just embrace it. Be proud.
Yeah. When I first started, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. It's really personal. I feel like people don't like it. And, I don't want people not to like me. But you get in a groove of it and you do it for so long. And, I'm very, very, very blessed. I mean, God has gifted me with this opportunity to help people and to be involved in the community. And I'm just so thankful. And it's not uncomfortable anymore. It's just like, just another day at the office at this point. But I think it's definitely a little bit of a growing curve, a growing pain. But I really love it now. And I've done close to 1,300, 1,400 of them.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, you see one, you see them all. So if you think that it's, well, there's something wrong with mine, I don't like how they look. I'm not looking at them for my appeal. So
no,
I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, she's doing her job, and she's doing her job to help you.
Yeah, and that's what I love most. I tell people all the time, I love patient care. Like, I love getting to hear these people's stories and talk to them. And you never know, that might be the only person they talk to for the day.
And that's a good point too. If you just want to chat for a second,
come on in.
Chat. Yeah. Like, that's okay too.
Yeah. And
or if you don't want to say a word, that's fine. You could just say, you know what, I just don't want to, please, I
don't want to talk. Let's just do this. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with whatever.
Yeah. Just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that completely. So, okay. So if somebody's out there, and I think we've kind of walked you through the process. If you're 39 and haven't had that mammogram yet and you're watching today and you're like, oh boy, trust me when I tell you, stop reading Facebook and things online about your mammogram. People survive it every day, and survive is a bad word because it's not
terrible. It's not that bad.
It's not at all what people make it out to be.
I agree.
And it just makes me so furious when we can joke about it, but we're not being serious and like projecting fear.
Oh yeah. No.
Like joking about it is one thing.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad.
It's really not. And especially with the new machine, I think that it's just such a better experience. And, your grandma who had her mammogram, for the first time on film x-ray, and she probably did have a worse experience, and she probably didn't like it, and that's rightfully so. They weren't fun, but they've made so many advancements in imaging in general, not just mammography, but especially mammography, to give you a more comfortable, a more detectable for cancer mammogram. And they've really made leaps and bounds when it comes to the technology that they use.
Okay. I just thought of one question. Is there anybody that wouldn't be a candidate for mammography for some other health reason? Because it is an x-ray, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's an x-ray.
Yes. So I know with like MRI and stuff, you can't have any metal in your body and things like that. And I think that is what people sometimes are like, does it matter? Can I?
It's confusing.
Oh yeah. And they're like, do I need to take my watch off? And you don't have to do anything special. I can't think of anyone that wouldn't be a candidate.
Okay.
The only time that you wouldn't, it'd be if you had a double mastectomy and you don't have any breast tissue. There's nothing to squeeze there.
Okay, there's nothing to look at.
Yeah, there's no point in doing it because you don't have any breast tissue. But I do think that that's a very valid question, because I feel like between all the different modalities there are, it's like, which one is this again? But yeah, for your mammogram, you just come in and jewelry off, usually off the neck, just to get it out of the way. And
not for any reason other than to just not break it.
Yeah, because I'd feel really terrible if I squeezed down on your necklace and broke it off your neck. That would be terrible. But
one thing we failed to mention, if you are coming in for your first mammogram and people assume that you know these things and you might not, what is it? No deodorant?
Yep, no
Let's
lotion.
go through that situation.
So it's no lotion, powder, or deodorant. So I know some people put powder underneath their breasts to help with like moisture and things like that. So we don't want you to do any of that, because deodorant, certain types of deodorant can have aluminum in them, and that mimics breast cancer. And same goes for powder and lotion. Not necessarily the aluminum, but it can make it look like there's something there that's not, and it's just something skin level.
So just clean skin.
Yeah. We usually
They have deodorant there.
we do.
So when
we
you're done,
do.
you can just slather on them.
Yes, we have deodorant. And then we also, if you do come, say, you came straight down from an appointment and you don't want to get your mammogram that day because you have deodorant on, it's not the end of the world. We can give you, we have little wipes, and they're in a nice wipe warmer. So they're nice and warm for you.
Hey.
And you just wipe that deodorant off real good and we'll get going. But we recommend that you take a shower the night before, the day before, and don't put anything on that morning. If you come in, you think, well, I might still have a little on. Nothing to worry about. We'll get you cleaned off and we'll get you going. It's not a reason to reschedule your mammogram if you put deodorant on that morning. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. So but it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just trying to give you little pointers here and there.
I feel like too, something that a lot of people think is if I have breast implants, I can't get a mammogram.
I was going to ask you about that. You mentioned it and then we kind of glossed over
That's
it.
okay,
Yeah.
We still do mammograms on people with breast implants.
Are they going to burst?
No.
Like you hear all of these weird things.
There is always a possibility, but that's with anything you do. And we have you sign a waiver beforehand saying that you know that there is a risk of rupture anytime you get a mammogram, but that the risk of you having breast cancer is much higher.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's a common misconception is, I have breast implants, I can't get a mammogram. You can.
No, you need to.
Yeah, you do. And
typically you can't feel as much.
Yes, I agree. And so same general idea where you're going to do 4 pictures on you and up and down and a side to side on each breast. And then you're going to get 4 extra pictures. But the nice thing about having breast implants is you don't have to take as much compression because we don't want to rupture. We don't want to take a chance of applying too much force to rupture something. So we do enough to hold you in there nice and tight. And then we'll expose. You get a shorter exposure time. So that's another perk for breast implants.
Hey.
Yeah. And then we'll do 4 pictures with your implants pushed back where we just get your natural breast tissue. Okay. On those ones, it's a little more compression than probably on the first few, but we're still not going to hurt you. We're going to go until you say, okay, that's enough. Our goal is never to hurt anyone. We want you to come back. We want you to get your yearlies. And so that's what we always promote. You can still get a mammogram if you have breast implants.
Very good. See, so now you know, and don't use that as an excuse either.
Yes.
So, very good. All right. Well, my goodness, we've talked our way through an hour.
Yeah.
I had a feeling we would.
I think we're a little chatty Cathy's,
but no, I think it's very important to get out, to get it out and just talk about, like, who cares? Like, we all have them and we all need to go through it and we need to do this and protect ourselves and be our advocates. So, and you do that with the help of, our friends at Holzer, who do such a wonderful job there and now have the 3D mammography. Yes. I am just stoked about that.
I am too. I was meant to say too, we're the only facility that offers this technology and it's the best technology. So we have the best one in the little tri-state area here. So we'd love to see you. We'd love for you to come in and let us take care of you and make us very happy. So
there you go. And if you need advice on, Dylan, could you put that card up one more time, please? Maybe you don't have insurance, need a little financial assistance. You can call that 1-800-236-6253 number. That's the Southeastern Ohio Breast and Cervical Cancer Project. And they will help you out in paying for some things.
Yes.
So there's, again, no excuse.
Yes. And you can always call, too, just to the clinic in Jackson or Holzer, wherever, or in Galplis. I always say Holzer. I don't know why. But you can call any of the locations, even just to, like, the radiology department. And any of those girls will be happy to lean you in the right direction, show you the way.
Sure. Yeah, so don't feel like lost or whatever. Again, women do this every day. You do this every day.
Yes.
So it's just something that you need to do to take care of yourself. So is there anything else we haven't discussed today? I mean, should we talk about the weather or should we talk about, like your favorite movies or?
I don't have a bunch, but no, I think we're perfect. I think that you did a really wonderful job with hitting the main points and the things that, we value. And Holzer, quality patient care, every patient, every time. So that we're just so thankful to have the opportunity to be here and, spread the news to the area because I'm sure a lot of people don't know that we have it now. So we're thankful that we're able to be here.
Yep. The area's only 3D mammography right here, Jackson, Athens,
Gallup
Police, and that's at Holzer.
Yes.
Take advantage of it. And again, if your doctor isn't a doctor at Holzer, no problem. Say, I want the 3D and I want it done
at Jackson.
Yeah.
Clinic.
I want to see Maggie.
Yeah. And I'll take good care of you.
Yes, she will. I promise you that. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by today. And it's been wonderful. Dylan, do you have that weather pulled up? Because it is all over the place. So today is going to be really strange. 75 and a 10% chance of rain. Tomorrow, are you ready for this? 79 degrees and another 10% chance of rain. But we'll just say it's not going to rain because we don't want it to. And then dipping back down to 46 degrees on Friday and, 50, 58 Saturday, Sunday. And then, so it's just a little bit all over the place. So anyway. All right. Well, thank you again for stopping by. We appreciate it. And we're going to get out of here for the day. Maybe some, news tomorrow, James? Do you think?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll have some news here tomorrow. We look forward to that. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegrammnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegrammnews.com.
Check it out.